and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and I'll call the meeting of Wednesday, June 8th, 2022 in order. First order of business is public announcements, and details may be found at www.fairfieldme.com. Number one, the state's primary municipal and MSAD 49 school budget elections will be held at the community center on June 14th, 2022. Polls are open at 8 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. Absentee voting ends June 9th. So if you've got your absentee votes out there, you have to get them in by June 9th.
The requesting ends June 9th.
Yes.
They can still bring them back.
They can still bring them back? Okay.
It helps, but.
Yes, well, that's all right. Town of Fairfield and Maine Career Center is co-hosting a youth job fair on Tuesday, June 21st from 2 to 4:30 at the Fairfield Community Center parking lot. Number three, Lawrence Public Library. Upcoming events include on June 11th, book and yard sale from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. June 21st, summer reading program begins for all ages. And on June 21st, Children's Librarian is hosting Therapy Dogs, 11 a.m. to noon. Number four, Fairfield Farmers Market opens mid-May and is held on Wednesdays from 2 to 6 and Saturdays from 9:30 to 1:30. And the market is located at the Fairfield Church of the Nazarene at 81 Main Street. The second order of business is public hearings. That's to hear public comments on an application for special amusement permit for the purpose of music and dancing submitted by Riverjack Tavern located at 230 Main Street in Fairfield. We are now open for public hearing. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Kent, if you would like to speak, you can.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure if I was the sir.
Yeah.
Kent Eliason, I'm the owner of Riverjack Tavern. Just looking to, play music on, probably Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
Too late, not too loud. I don't really personally like loud music, and we're not a very big place. We're just 30 seats inside and a small deck on top. So not looking to cram it in and have a three-piece band in there with a drum set or anything. Probably just, one or two people, acoustic guitars, just to, provide a little bit of entertainment for the town and,
Sure.
give something for people to do on Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Kent?
Kent, will the music always be inside, or do you think you'll have it coming outside at some point, like in the parking lot?
Probably not on the parking lot. I was considering, if possible, to do it on the deck, if it's a nice evening. We have, it's enough room for a couple of people to set up in the corner of the deck and, enjoy the summer evenings while we have them.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing in the parking lot.
Okay, just wondering.
Okay. Yes.
To the podium.
Come up to the podium and speak.
Written, sign your name, please, and then state your name.
Good evening. My name is Lori Bannon. I reside at 210 Main Street, and I operate and own the tithing shop at 208A Main Street. And I'm here tonight because I did have some questions and concerns about the permit, because I did have a past experience about 35 years ago with music and alcohol that was very unpleasant and took away my quiet enjoyment in my home that I lived in at the time. And so, if I may, Mr. Chair, I did have some questions for the business, if I could ask them.
Sure.
And some questions about the noise ordinance.
Sure.
The gentleman has already answered some of my questions, such as that it would be played on Friday and Saturdays, and that it will be live music. I am concerned about music out on the deck, and I am concerned about the position of the building and how it relates to where my neighborhood is and where I live. So, being that it's on the outside deck, music and sound really travels, and my previous experience showed me that sometimes there can be an echo chamber, and so being on the deck, if there's music out there, the river is going to act as an echo chamber. We already know that because sometimes at Mill Island Park they have concerts or fireworks, and the noise does travel up the river to where we live. If the music is played late, I'm just concerned that if it reaches my home, I know it's going to reach other neighbors' homes, that it could be disturbing. So questions would be, is there any soundproofing? There's no barrier between the parking lot and the first neighbor that I have 2 doors down. So the sound could affect them because the doors to the building are side-facing. If it does travel down the river, which I suspect it will, it could hit the railroad trellis, bounce off of it. We could hear it in the back of our building. So I just don't want to go through a situation like I went through 35 years ago where almost every night of the week we just couldn't get away from the noise. So I'm hoping that the business will hear those concerns, and I don't know if they can do any mitigation to keep the sound from traveling down the street. I mean, we are mainly residential on the section of the street that the River Jack is on. I mean, I operate a small little business, but it's during the day, and actually we're retiring this year anyway. So that's my biggest concern. I'm very pro-business. I want to see Fairfield continue to bring in new businesses. It's a wonderful town to operate a business in, and the people at the town office are wonderful to work with. So I want to see other people prosper, but I want to be able to enjoy my space as well as my neighbors who are even closer, for them to enjoy their homes.
Would you care to answer that, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I take seriously as well. I have some neighbors that live near me, like at my house, that play music pretty loud at night, and I get 2 little kids, and same thing here. I like to enjoy my time at my house and, not be disturbed. So I don't know what kind of sound mitigation I could do. I'm happy to look into it. But mainly, I just want to make it clear, I want to be in good standing with my neighbors and the people who live in the area of the business. I'm not, we're not really a late night hangout spot. I wouldn't be looking to do music too late, and definitely not during the week. Yeah, I just want to let you know I can relate and I understand your concern, and I'm happy to do whatever it takes to make sure I'm not disturbing you, or whatever music we have in isn't disturbing you or any other neighbors, because that's the last thing I want to do.
Well, I appreciate that. Can I just ask a question on the noise ordinance? I read it. It was a little unclear to me about whether there could be loud music if you had a special permit between 9:30 at night and 7 in the morning. And I was also unclear that there was a rule about noise not going 75 feet and beyond where the noise source starts. I wasn't clear if that just applied in general or if it also applied to someone who has a special amusement permit.
You want to answer that, Michelle?
I can't. I don't specialize in that part of the ordinance. But one of the things I can tell you, so some of those pieces are more for locations in which we've had events in town that would be, say they were out further in the country, the more rural parts of the community, somebody wants to have an event in a field. So they would go and get a special amusement permit under this piece of the ordinance in which it would allow them to play music. They work with the police department. They do all of these different things. This special amusement permit, of course, applies to what is basically a bar eating establishment, which has hours in which it's governed, in which it can serve alcohol anyway. So there's those pieces that come into effect. Because there hasn't been any business in that location that has had live music for many, many years, it is also one of those pieces in which the municipality would be more than open to conversations with residents if there does become an issue, that we could certainly address that and address that permit going forward. And I believe Mr. Ellison would be more than happy to have that conversation. I don't want to speak on his behalf, but he's been very cooperative with any questions or whatnot that we've had regarding that business and working with code enforcement and all of those different pieces. So that may be probably the only solution we could tell you that could potentially be there for tonight, because nobody knows. Like you said, he doesn't. There's not room at that location in order for him to bring in, a 20-piece band that's going to be blaring.
Yes, I was in the building when it was a restaurant, so that was part of my questioning as far as what can you fit, if there's a band inside, it gets very hot, you have to open doors, you have to open windows.
That is true.
And then sound travels. Mitigating things might be shrubs along the edge of the parking lot. I mean, I can't tell a business what to do, but I'm just thinking ahead because, as I said, I had a very bad experience about 35 years ago, and it went on for several years, and there wasn't a lot that could be done because everything was grandfathered in.
And
so,
nobody wants to see something like that repeated again.
So, and
I also don't want that to be the case.
yeah, and I feel very comfortable with what Mr. Eliason has said. So we like to be very good neighbors, and I'm glad that he wants to be one too. And thank you for hearing my concern.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I have just a few questions.
Yeah, go
I think
ahead.
definitely that Riverjack wants to be a good neighbor and a big part of the town, and I welcome them. I think just for my own information, one is, do we have a time frame on the permit? Like, does it, music shuts down at 11, or I don't have the permit in front of me, so that's just interesting. And that there's a decibel level attached to that, and also the final one would be if that. I think we can talk about pulling the permit if there are issues, or at least reopening that permit. Those are just, I think, informational questions that we should probably know.
Christine?
So, Chief Gold is here, who oversees the public safety ordinance, which also addresses sound and noise and complaints. So any license like this that's governed in statute, as well as there's local ordinances, anytime there's a complaint, it would be funneled to the Fairfield Police Department. Tom would notify me that it would need to be addressed by council if it's a council-awarded permit or license. So we would bring that to you if a problem were to arise. And I don't know if you wish to ask Tom about the hours related to sound.
Sure,
They are
you
in
can
the
come up,
business
Tom.
district, and there's a special amusement
Chief.
permit nearby as
Permit
well.
would allow that to violate our existing ordinances. So the noise ordinance, in my humble opinion, would not be utilized by the officers when they respond there because it's a permitted activity. We would utilize criminal law, which is a little bit less, well, quite a bit less restrictive. In that instance, the officer would have to go there and he would have to reasonably believe that the noise was louder than it should be within a resident's home, and if it was, then he would take action. If he didn't feel that when he was in the home, he wouldn't be able to. So I don't know if the permit could have some sort of wording in it that would say it has to be, has to adhere to the permit or the noise ordinance. I don't know if that's even possible. I don't suspect we're going to have any issues there. They've been phenomenal to work with. We've heard a lot of positive things about them. I'm assuming if we go there and say the noise is too loud, that'll be taken care of.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have any specific hours, Kent, that you're talking about?
I mean, I'm still spitballing. I didn't want to like book anybody or
Right.
go down this rabbit hole too far until it was a thing that I could actually do. But honestly, we close up pretty early on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
I was, 7 to 9:30 at the latest, more than likely. It definitely won't go on much further than that. I mean, maybe 10 o'clock on some nights, but not past that. And honestly, yeah, just Fridays and Saturdays from 7 to 9, 7 to 10.
I mean, I would think we could place in the permit the specific hours. Yes.
So the only challenge is that we have multiple special amusement permits already in place that follow the actual state statute. And to
Okay.
change one, I would want Michelle and I to have the opportunity to explore that, because the VFW holds a special amusement permit.
Yeah, you're right.
The
The
Legion does.
Legion does, yeah.
Meridians, I'm not sure if they were going to renew or not, but all of
Meridian's
these are
on
the
one.
same.
Yeah, they're all in the same
on Main
category.
Street. They're all on Main Street.
But they're all within the business
And to
district on Main Street.
restrict one
Yeah.
business and not all the others, I don't think would
Okay, yeah,
hold
I
up
see
to
what
muster.
you're talking about, yeah.
But we could certainly explore that for future, but not for this evening.
Thanks for the information.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anybody else got any more questions? Any council members got any questions? Anybody from the public got any more questions? Okay. If that's the case, then I will declare that we've had the opportunity, and I'll declare the public hearing closed. We are closed.
Thank you, Kent.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ken. Appreciate your help.
See you.
Okay, then we move on to the third order of business, which is public comments. That's a limit 3-minute equivalent to public speaking. Members of the public may email comments for council at info@fairfieldme.com by 4 p.m. day of meeting, or on any topic or agenda items, and items may be read aloud at this time. Do we have any that were sent in?
No comments, but I did receive an email that Mr. Crockett and his attorney would like to reserve the right to speak on the action items later on the agenda, and I do believe they are in the electronic Zoom audience.
Okay.
Pastor Roy, did you want to reserve?
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah, and then,
Speak. It was item,
If needed, yeah.
if needed, 2268, if needed.
yeah, all right, what do we, so where are these?
Later in.
They're later on in your action items.
Oh, okay, all
Okay.
right.
These are all items that are coming up later in the agenda.
Okay, Pastor, then you may come up.
He's later in the agenda.
Oh, you're one of the
He's later in
later
the
ones,
agenda.
too. Okay,
And I believe Melina Dumas, who is in Zoom land, is here for is the attorney for Mr. Crockett, so
Okay.
she's out there.
all
And
right,
of course, Kent would, if there are any questions when you go to pass his permit as well, so.
okay. Then I'll declare third order of business closed. Move to the fourth order of business, reports from staff and committees, town manager's report.
All right, so on May 31st, I met with Victor Esposito Jr., he's the JMG Master Specialist for the Alphon Youth and Community Center, to discuss the June 21st job fair. They held one a few months ago that was for youth, and he provided a great deal of information, and then he also shared our information with his list of businesses that they had for when they did theirs, so it was some good information sharing. On June 1st, the code enforcement officer and I met with a potential new developer in Fairfield. This is a brand-new type of business, not only for the region, but also for the state. So we had a lot of conversations regarding permitting requirements was our main topic, but hopefully more information will be coming on that. Also on the 1st, I received word that there is a possibility that our $8.4 million federal discretionary monies that we have requested have receiving quite a bit of attention and look as though they are moving forward. On June 5th, the application for the $1 million Northern Border Regional Commission grant was submitted by their deadline. June 7th, which was this past Monday, the librarian and I met with the Career Center staff to go over the job fair pieces and the planning progress. So that's moving right along. Flyers were taken to Winslow, Waterville, and Fairfield High School to be distributed to all of the high school students there, sophomores, juniors, and any seniors who may still be lagging about somewhere. So to get that information out there to all of them, and they have the electronic version, so the schools were going to push it out on their informational pages. The 7th, no, that was that one, the 8th. So yes, this morning, Central Maine Growth Council Board of Directors meeting that I attended, Dirigo Labs is doing some wonderful things in the region that are helping to launch startups. I believe they had 12 startups in their first cohort, as well as providing a lot of educational opportunities for training for these new businesses to get them up and running. So that's going really, really well. For project updates, our electric vehicle charging station has been installed down here at Mill Island parking lot. It is not yet operational. We were waiting for the safety bollards, which I believe were set up this afternoon, and the internet setup, which I think was done this afternoon, and then the training for the credit card system on that. Our Gov Office prefix for our emails has been approved by the federal government, so Waterville IT continues to work towards our Office 365 email hosting and software conversion. The fire training facility is complete other than the concrete floors, which are scheduled to be poured next week. There are some concrete pads exterior that are being poured, I think, the end of this week. So tomorrow or Monday, one or the other. And then the police chief and I are continuing to work on the PD's new software contract. And that is it for me.
Okay. Committee reports, Stephanie?
The Economic and Community Development Committee met yesterday. We had Bill Boyce present, and he presented several models that are being used in Florida with internet, cable, and phone, and thought that this might be a possibility for us as a cost-saving measure for our citizens. He did some legwork, spoke with representatives from Spectrum, referred Michelle to one of them. She, in turn, is going to contact this person and talk to this person about the feasibility of something like this. It's just skimming the surface, but it's a good chance for some community development, so, as well as economic. So we also talked about the waterfront plan, and that's moving ahead. Next month, we're going to be doing some concept mapping as a committee, and we're going to go back and take a look at the old maps for Mill Island.
Right.
From the past and see what we would like for the future. And then this is laying the groundwork for us to do a public forum and getting ideas from our citizens. The AARP age-friendly community is still being explored. And Tim Forsman is kind of going and doing more research for us. The town manager also shared the information on the youth job fair. Importantly, our next meeting will be July 12th, not July 5th, and that's because of the holiday week. But we will meet at 3:30 on the 12th, right here in this room.
Okay. Are there any other committee reports? Yes, Michael.
Yes, I met with the Crawford Committee last week. Had a very good meeting. A little disappointed with the performance of the fund overall. But that being said, with some carryover and some additional funding sources, they will be able to fund most of the programs through this upcoming year. As per usual, should something catastrophic happen, I said to, tell them to come to the council and see if there's something that we can do. We can always make a withdrawal if there's something terrible that happens, if they come up short on sending kids to music camp, we should be able to, help them out on one or two small incidences. But overall, they seem to be not terribly unhappy, but not thrilled about it either, but they willing to work with us and work through it and get through this tight financial situation that they're in at the moment.
Yeah, well, anything right now attached to the stock market is probably a little bit tight, so.
But
Yes, Michelle?
One of the things that I would like to explore, actually, when we have some time, is adjusting your Crawford Fund policy, in which maybe what we do is we do a 3-year average for them. I've started gathering the data, so to look at what that looks like. What is a 3-year average? What is a 5-year average? So that, because we've had some years which have been absolutely horrific, and then we've had some years that have been outstanding, close to $100,000. So can we come up with a way in which we can, while the market is still not in the most stable places, mitigate those ups and downs all the time? And if we did an average of each year, would that help balance that out? Whereas a real low year and a high year would still keep them on an even plane for at least 2 years. So it's something that I've started looking at, and we'll hopefully have that data gathered for you. It's going to be closer towards fall, but something for you to take a look at in the future and see if that's something, because it is council's policy that dictates how we put that forward.
Right.
And that might be more stable for them.
Okay. Makes sense. Any other committee reports? There being none, we'll close the fourth order of business. Move to the fifth order of business, which is the consent agenda. These items are considered routine or standard business and therefore will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless a council member so requests prior to consideration of this portion of the agenda, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered next on the agenda. All right, first item is 22-61. Ordered that the town council hereby waives a reading of and accepts the minutes for meeting 2022-09 held on May 25th, 2022.
Yeah, you usually do the
Oh,
next
you're doing,
one, too.
yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And item 2262, ordered that the town council hereby approves the treasurer's warrant number 72, general fund, in the amount of $536,128.74. Not limited to, but including KSTD, CMP, motor vehicle, Revision Energy, FW Web.
So moved.
Is there any discussion or? Okay, all in favor? Carries full. Move to the sixth order of business, to take action on the following items of business as read by Council Chair. Item 2263, ordered that the town council hereby authorizes the use of contingency funds as may be necessary as of June 30th, 2022, to cover expenditures that may exceed annual budgeted amounts.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Do you see?
Yes, Michelle. I'm
I
sorry.
don't anticipate any.
Good, you read my mind.
At this time, all of our budgets look sound. We're still waiting for end of year stuff to come through. We don't anticipate any. This is just still it's your standard piece, so we can close out the year.
Okay.
And if there are any, of course, we'll report that to you at the your first meeting in July.
July.
We'll know,
Yep.
but-
All right. All those in favor? Pass full. Item 2264, ordered that the town council hereby approves the sewer enterprise budget for fiscal year 2022 to 2023 as presented. You all have copies of that budget.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that budget? Yes, Michelle.
The question about the interest on the bond payment has been corrected. It was a miskey in that account, and actually, it had been corrected before your last meeting. I just did not get into a report and update my sheet.
Okay.
But if you remember, I think, wasn't the bond payment interest was like $112,000?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be 16,108, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's been fixed in your new sheets that you received tonight.
Okay. Any more? All in favor? Carries full. Item 2265, in order that the town council hereby approves the crossword TV budget for fiscal year 2022-2023 as presented. You all have that budget also in your area.
Second?
Any discussion on that? Being none, all in favor? Carries full. All right. Now we'll move to 2266. Order that the town council hereby approves a medical marijuana dispensary license, Sam Crockett Dispensary LLC, doing business as Cannabis Cured Dispensary, Fairfield, and authorizes the town manager to sign and submit the corresponding Maine Office of Marijuana Policy, Maine Local Authorization Forms, in accordance with Fairfield Land Use Ordinance Sections 6.4A and 9.20 and state statutes.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Yes, Michelle?
This is just a name change, I believe. Of course, Molina is out there, but this, you've already licensed this facility. It's
Yeah, I
the same
thought so.
location that it was at, up on 139. It was
Yeah.
a name change into Sam's name.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
that correct, Molina?
That is correct, yes. It's the facility is currently used as a registered dispensary, and there's going to be a new licensee, Sam Crockett Dispensary, that will move into that building. And then the next item on the agenda is in regards to an adult use marijuana store
Right.
moving into that building. So they're shifting around so that you can have both medical and adult use out of that same space, but it's the existing use of the building. And the planning board approved the conditional use approval for both on Monday of this week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
No.
All those in favor? Carries full. All right, so we'll move on to item 2267, which is ordered that the town council hereby approves an adult use marijuana retail license, Green Allen Cannabis Company, LLC, doing business as Cannabis Cured Retail, and authorizes the town manager to sign and submit corresponding Maine Office of Marijuana Policy, Maine Local Authorization Forms in accordance with Fairfield Land Use Ordinance Sections 6.4A and 9.20 and state statutes.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion, questions? All those in favor? Carries full. Item 2268, order that the town council hereby authorizes the town manager to facilitate a signage request from the Fairfield Interfaith Food Pantry with the CEO and Public Works Director, and in accordance with Fairfield's Land Use Ordinance, MRSA Title 23, and Dig Safe regulations.
So moved. Second?
Are there any questions for the pastor or anything? No? All those in favor? Carries full. Yes, you may.
Really quick, thank you. It's in order for us to serve the people of the Fairfield area. So thank you very much for doing this, and I look forward to coming across the bridge from Benton and seeing this beautiful sign that you all have okayed. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right. 2269, ordered that the town council hereby signs quitclaim deed for Shirley Frazier, Carl Panamiller, and Don Panamiller for property located at 11 Western Avenue, map 19, lot 104.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Clearing up sewer lanes.
Pardon?
Thank you.
Sewer liens?
Clearing up sewer lanes.
Okay. All those in favor? Carries full. Item 2270, Ordered that the town council hereby authorizes the town manager to sign and enter Fairfield into contract with the Somerset Humane Society Animal Shelter for the annual control response services effective July 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Questions for the chief?
I would like to thank the chief for the work he's put into this, because I brought it up originally, and being part of Somerset County, I feel like we should at least take care of our businesses in Somerset County. So
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you.
Me as well, and in no way does this reflect negatively on the Waterville shelter. It's just a Somerset County business. I think they've done a phenomenal job bringing that organization up. They're doing really well. But I was very impressed with the Somerset shelter. I think the manager was as well. And our animal control officer lives up in that area, so it'll reduce our mileage costs. Obviously, she may not work for us forever, and we may hire somebody that lives in a different part of the area here, but most of the animal control officers are familiar with both shelters, so.
Right.
Again, thank you.
And I noticed it was a little bit less expensive, too.
Quick, I mean, it sounds like ease of access is always an important part for the ACO. So, you know, at later night hours, they usually have their own access. So looks good. They were happy with that. And then spacing and space available, they're happy with that as well, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah.
Super.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, appreciate it.
Any more questions? Nope. All in favor? Carries full. Yes.
Just looking at the end of this, I've realized that Order 2271 is missing from your agenda,
I was going to say, there is no order.
which would
72.
be the order that the town council hereby approves a special amusement permit for the purposes of music and dancing submitted by Riverjack Tavern located at 230 Main Street, Fairfield.
Okay.
My mistake.
So you're going to move it?
So move
You're
it.
going to move it? Well, then I'll second it.
Okay. Any more
Thank you.
questions for Mr. Kent?
No.
No, I just hope that lines of communication stay open between the two of you as progress is made.
Yeah, I mean, and as we move along, we need to hear if there is a situation or whatever from the neighbors there so that we can,
Well, I
Do
know
something.
Other people will speak up, but,
yeah,
you know, if there is a bad problem, we will. I mean, normal noise, that's okay, but
right,
we just don't want to be disturbed.
exactly.
So they
Yeah,
understood.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, and I don't want to disturb anybody, so please,
Right.
let me know. Let me know if there's any issues, because I'm happy to fix them, so it's not an issue going forward.
Any idea when you plan on starting that?
I mean, hopefully soon. I got to go through and hopefully all the musicians in the area are booked up for the summer already. But by the end of the month, in a perfect world, as long as I can get some people lined up and get it going.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We wish you all well.
Thank you very much.
All in favor? Carries full. All right. Council workshop and other businesses. On the agenda, discuss other council business. We can start with Stephanie.
Now that we've got the food pantry sign, I would like for us to get signage for the community center. Is that before fall? Is that going to be a possibility?
Certainly can make that mission.
Probably, if they're like any other vendors, you might be lucky if you get it by fall.
Well, that's what we are hoping for. I am hoping for before the snow falls, so.
Do you want a couple of different designs? Do you want me to just order a sign? How do you want to do it?
We talked last time about letters on the side of the building. I think that should be explored. I think we do need signage. We have nothing for the boat ramp, as far as I know.
So there's a sign up at the top of the road
Right.
that lets folks know where that
Is the boat
down
ramp
here.
on it? I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, the boat ramp's on it, community center's on it, police department.
But we need
parking.
something to designate this as the community center. I think we've sat on this long enough. It's time to move it.
We just brought it up a few.
Oh, we've brought it up several times over the past years about signage.
So a couple options would be great.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No,
You good?
not as of right now.
Right, I
Right.
understand. Mr. Cooper, I'm done. Michael?
I am good.
You're good?
I'm good.
Okay, he's good, I'm good.
Okay, all right. Next regular meeting of Fairfield Town Council will be on Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022. Will be held as a hybrid meeting via Zoom in the council chambers at 6:30. We will now go into recess and sign all documents that are required the signature of council members.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
We're in recess.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, folks.